Hi YouTube family! My name is Alicia English.
And I'm Philip English.
Welcome back to our channel.
I think we're drawing blanks.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of thinking going on over here.
I think we need to get our think couch back.
That 1986 Jackknife, I finally remembered the name of it.
Good job.
Couch we've been using as a think couch has been completely torn out and it's sitting in the studio because the weather forecast today is pouring rain.
It's drizzly.
It's drizzly. So thank goodness we have the think couch ready to get reupholstered in the art room. Let's go. 1986 was a long time ago. We were born in 1983, and the original fabric and style is still on this Jackknife couch that's been in the camper. And we are dying to get at this couch because we've taken it out a couple of times in and out while we've thought to paint behind it. Yes, I say we. I have got Philip to take it out several times so that I can paint around it, behind it, beside it. And it is time to get that couch totally restored so that we can put it back in. That way we actually have a think couch because we have a lot more thinking to do on what we're going to do in this camper. And with this wet weather we've been having, we haven't been able to use our front porch couch, and we have been relying on this think couch with a blanket covered over it. But I think it's time to give it a new look.
I agree.
Let's go into the studio.
All right.
This couch has been sat on by a lot of people. There aren't a lot of kind things to say about the state that this couch is currently in, other than at one point, this was probably a very, very nice sofa. It actually, the colors aren't even that bad. The fabric is a super durable fabric, but you can tell that this thing has gotten a lot of love and it needs to have a completely new cover on it. I know that because I can't go to the stores right now, I'm limited to the supplies that I can use to reupholster this. And I know because I have kids and a dog that this may be a project that I tackle again down the road. And I really don't want to slip cover this. Although I know with a family that makes a lot of sense. But I love projects and I'm not worried if I have to do this again with $7 more worth of fabric down the road and change it up. So I'm going to actually upholster this rather than put a slip cover on it. I have a pneumatic stapler, so I'm going to use that. I'm also going to get the original fabric off with a combination of a box cutter and my sewing scissors. You guys make jokes about my little scissors I was using. These are official sewing cutting fabric scissors. And I'm going to use this neutral colored fabric. I have plans for some really awesome pillows and things to be able to put on these seats that I'm going to do in the camper. And so I wanted something neutral that I can change up. And so I'm going to take this fabric off first and start with the bottom, kind of practice my skills on this easier bottom section, and then I'm going to tackle the top, which is going to be a lot more complicated. Because this couch folds down into a bed, it's imperative that I make sure that the back here is just as thick as the bottom so that when it lays flat, you can actually have an even bed space across. I am going to be putting a foam across it when my son sleeps on it, but I want to make sure that this is even. So my problem with upholstering the back is that this is actually one pillow attached to the back, and then this is actually a separate pillow attached to the back, and then there's also this back shape. And so I'm going to have the challenge of reupholstering these and getting these to stay back on. Looks like they've just stitched all the way around the seams at the back. I haven't done very many upholstery jobs that are this technical, and because I'm going to be using limited supplies, I'm going to do the best job that I can, see how it turns out. Ooh, there's chips and stuff down there from 1986.
Ew.
There's so much stuff down here. I saw Jimmy Fallon's goat and he's like, ew.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yeah. What's where it's going to the dump or reupholstering this couch?
It is so, I can't even see the strings that are attached to these because there's like an inch deep of just grossness. Oh. Some of them were in really tight. They did a good job.
So you want to keep these buttons?
I want, as disgusting as that sounds, yes, I want to keep these buttons. I'm going to get them really clean. And I think I'm going to put fabric over them to refinish the buttons so that I can put the buttons back on some parts on the couch. Maybe not like this on the seat, but this is taking a lot of thinking for not having a think couch to sit on this morning. We just made a discovery when flipping over the Jackknife couch. So my plan was to be able to have some kind of a wood frame underneath to be able to staple, use my pneumatic stapler to be able to adhere my fabric, wrapping around the bottom, going around the perimeter with my staple gun. Well, I discovered that it is not actually any type of wood framing underneath. It's just this very thin cardboard frame underneath, and then metal around the perimeter. And then there's also a thick wire here and these zip tie type straps that are actually holding on this framework. So what I need to do in order to use the supplies that I have to restore this is actually get all this fabric off and then be able to create some type of a wood frame underneath that I can actually adhere my fabric to. So that's our plan. So we're going to get all of this off, use some wire snippers and get this outside part. This is a thick wire seam in here. Be able to get that off as much as we can. And then we're going to cut a board to be able to put underneath here, a plywood board, and tuck it underneath this center bar here. And then I'll be able to wrap my fabric around it. That's the plan. That's our best option at this point. A few spots are still glued on, but the rest, the glue has aged over the years and is coming off pretty easily. We put 2 pieces of scrap plywood underneath, and then what we're going to do is actually just cut them to length. So I've just drawn a line right down the side here to make sure that we're not hanging off. We actually had the right width going all the way across. So we've seamed the 2 pieces underneath this main center bar, and then we can cut them off with the table saw, put them back in, and then have something to adhere our staples to. I don't know exactly if I want to put buttons back on this lower piece or not. I think I'm going to. And so what we've done is we pre-drilled some holes so that when I use an upholstery needle later, I have an access point to be able to put the backings that were holding the buttons. And so what they did was they had the flat surface, the buttons were attached on the other side, and then this was at the top here so that the buttons wouldn't pull through. So we've made these holes an access point to be able to. I was missing 1 button. So there was actually, I think, 6 buttons all the way across, and we've downgraded it to 5. That way I don't have to worry about the button that was missing. So a little bit of alterations, but I think it's gonna work out great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fabric along the bottom, and I'm gonna start wrapping my fabric. I do not want the indent where this existing button was to actually indent when my new fabric goes on. And since there's quite a big slot here where they had tucked in the fabric, you can see they did it where all of the button spots are. So because I'm downgrading to 5 buttons, I need to actually fill this space so that my new fabric doesn't want to just go down in there all the time. And so I'm going to fill it with a little bit of some new foam just to make sure that doesn't happen. Otherwise it's gonna look a little off. So I just used a little bit of this eggshell foam, or egg carton foam, whatever it's called, and then put some in. That way when my fabric goes over top, I won't have an issue where that's gonna happen. I have this spray adhesive. It's an Elmer spray adhesive, and it's actually for fabric, wood, cardboard, metal, plastic. You can use it for all kinds of things. I'm going to put a bunch of this in, make sure this sits in place and let it sit for a little bit, and then we're gonna start wrapping our fabric. I have my fabric right side up, and I'm going to use my pneumatic stapler to be able to start upholstering and stretching this fabric onto the base of the couch. And so I'm going to start in the middle on this side, and then tighten on the middle on this side, and then work my way around on the ends. I always do the 4 corner ends, center ends first, and then start working on the corners, and then I'll fill in the side. So we're gonna get started. This side is the front of the couch, and it has a little bit of a rounded foam towards this metal bar. So I want to make sure that foam's in place when I pull this up and over. When the corners are rounded and not squared off, it's a little bit trickier to do that corner that I typically do when I do an upholstery job. So I want to make sure that I can make this as seamless as possible. No joking around with the upholstery job, but I also am working around these ribbed raised spots where a metal bar will go across. So I really need to be careful where I put my fabric. So I just really want it to be as smooth as possible. I gave myself a lot of excess to make sure that I didn't have any fraying. And so I'm just gonna cut off, oh, we forgot a whole section right now. Good thing I didn't cut that off. So I'm just working my way around, and then I'm probably just gonna put a few staples in just to hold it. I wanna just know I have a little bit of excess in case for some reason I have a rip or something and I need to pull it tight again. I just don't like to cut it too close, so I'd rather just leave a little bit of excess underneath, but I have to finish this section, I forgot. The fabric is all on the base, and I really love the texture of this fabric. I think it looks so nice. It has that little bit of a lighter fleck in it, but it keeps it as a neutral. And then I'm excited because I'm going to be able to add the buttons to the center spots right here at the front where I have these little indents that were there to begin with. And that way I'll be able to give a little bit of dimension to the actual seat. But before I do that, I think I'm gonna start tackling the back of the couch with my fabric, and then I'll be able to do all the button aspects at the end. Okay, so now I'm looking at the back of the couch, and this is having to be the exact same thickness as the base because it lays down to make a bed spot. And so it is actually 2 pillows that are attached to this back base. And so what I'm going to do is get all this old fabric off. I'm going to have to somehow recover the pillow aspects, putting the button spots back on, because I do actually like the look of it with the button spots to match what I'm gonna do at the base. And then this back base here needs to be upholstered in the same way that we did the base. So my challenge is going to be, with my limited sewing and upholstery skills, being able to recover these pillows on the front and then have them attached back on. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. It's covered in a plastic bag inside. So this is really interesting how they've done this. They cheated, because I was thinking that they upholstered like a whole pillow and then sewed from the back into this pillow to keep it attached to the back. They cheated. It's covered in a plastic, I guess to protect the foam, which is wondering why we could hear like crinkly material underneath. And they've just cut a hole and then been able to slide this pillow shape in. So ideally, I can do a couple of different things. I can upholster and sew with my sewing machine and make a pillowcase cover for this and have a sneak hole at the back, just kind of like they did, and just trace the same shape, which I think I can do. And then I'll be able to put the button spots back in. So I'm keeping these. Oh, this one's still attached. And then I can just reupholster this just the same way that I did the other base, and then be able to either stitch from the back of the pillows on or use a Velcro instead, which I'm kind of leaning towards using the Velcro because I'm limited on what supplies I have to be able to sew it from the back, right? I don't really have the longest needles to be able to do that. I need to brainstorm. I need a think chair to sit on so I can think. So I decided that because my pillows on the back here are super thick, I need to be able to wrap my fabric around these rather than sew inserts for these. And the reason that I need to do that is because I need to have a way to be able to attach these pillows to the back. Also, I realized that I don't have enough fabric of the kind that I have for the seats to be able to actually upholster the front and the back of both of these and the base. And so what I need to do is I have just enough fabric to wrap just from around the front back here across the front and be able to attach it just at the back like I did with the couch base. And so because this has this opening here, I don't have enough to do this whole section on the back on both of those. So my solution, because I'm limited on getting supplies right now, is to use a very, very thin piece of board that we actually upcycled from the camper, cut this a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to put just a small piece, only about 1.5 feet long, at the back of this pillow space. And I'm going to upholster this pillow once I remove this old fabric around it, just like I did with the base, drilling the holes for the buttons and everything. And then I'll be able to Velcro this pillow to the base that we're doing here where we're reupholstering that as well. And so I need to also put in that thin board underneath the back of this to have something to adhere to with the stapler, just the same we did with the couch base. So we have a lot more work ahead of us to be able to get the rest of this done. I'm gonna play around with these pillows tonight, whether I actually sew and upholster them or if I do this option. I need to think about this for a little bit before I kind of move any further. We're gonna update you on tomorrow's video. Hopefully we'll get all this finished for tomorrow so that we can show you what it looks like and get it inside the camper.
Elish and I spent a long time working on the Think chair, the Think bench, the Think couch,
Think couch.
the Think bed.
The Think Jackknife couch? Only because I remember the name of it finally.
And we came up with a lot of obstacles that we had to overcome, but overall, in the end, I think we're on the right track on getting this finished in a seamless, perfect finish. And I can't wait to see it all done, unfortunately, tomorrow. So you'll have to stay tuned and watch tomorrow's video to see the finished Jackknife couch.
There just isn't enough hours in the day for us to do daily uploads for you guys and get everything finished the same day that we start filming. And so today we were probably like almost 7 hours, 6-7 hours getting everything taken apart on the couch and upholstered just the bottom. So we're looking at probably the same amount of time, if not more, tomorrow doing the other 3 parts that we need to do to get this couch back together and then in the camper. And so we don't do this to hold you guys in suspense. We just do that right now so you guys get some daily uploads and then we can put these things together in the camper, which I'm pretty excited about. So we are actually going live tonight at...
Oh, yes!
Yay! We knew after today, with the trials we were having, that we would want to have a nice warm tea and relax and chat with our YouTube family.
Yes.
And so tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going live with you guys. So if you want to find us, head over to our channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring your questions, come chat with us.
Bring a warm tea.
Bring a warm tea or whatever you like to drink and hang out with us for a little while we end our evening. And then we'll be back tomorrow to show you part 2 of our upholstering of the Jackknife couch.
And it'll be in the camper
It will be done and in the camper, yeah.
Awesome.
For sure. Let me know what you think of the fabric. It's an indoor-outdoor, like industrial upholstery fabric. It looks like a linen almost.
Okay, YouTube family, I know you can only see it and you can't feel it, but it's so comfy and it's like cool to the touch. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be just the right amount of neutral, not too light and not too dark. I didn't want something dark for a large sofa like that. I am doing a color on the L-shaped bench and then something else on the seating in the kitchen here. And so for me, the couch, since it was so big and it was going to have accent pillows and stuff on it, I needed it to be a neutral, but not too light with, you know, boys and a dog, but just light enough that it brings that like airy look into the space. So I think it's gonna look really good in the end.
It's gonna look fantastic.
All right, we will see you guys on tomorrow's video and tonight live on our channel. We love you guys.
We love you.
And we will see you on tonight in tomorrow's video.
Yeah, we'll see you tonight on the live.
We usually say we'll see you on tomorrow's video, but we will see you tonight and tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.